Tay, $6 billion is a lot of cheese, and hey, the streets are saying it's actually closer to $7 billion.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of cheese, and we're gonna divulge all of it, man, and talk about how this is important for this Celtics team. What's gonna change? What's gonna stay the same? We're gonna talk all about it this episode, so I can't wait to talk to you about it.
Well,
Travis.
let's just get into it. Bill Chisholm, managing partner at Symphony Technology Group, has agreed to purchase the Boston Celtics from the Grossbeck family for a valuation of $6.1 billion. Here's a tweet from Shams. So the Grossbeck family brought the Celtics back in 2002 for $360 million, and now they agreed to a deal that's almost 17 times as much as the value they brought it for. Some more news here on Chisholm that should be of note. He's a local boy, Tay, grew up in Georgetown, Mass., went to Dartmouth. I mean, this, by the way, $6.1 billion price tag breaks a record for the highest paid number for a North American sports franchise. That is crazy. So, hey, local kid, diehard Celtics fan. My initial reaction here, I've been a part of covering teams that have changed ownership, and it's usually panic.
Yep.
It's usually like, oh, well, the new guy's going to come in, change everything. I don't feel that way with this. I actually think this is a beneficial move, short-term and long-term for the Celtics. I think because he's from the area, because he's a diehard Celtics fan, I hope he can recognize, let me stay out of the way. I just wrote this giant check, okay?
Yep.
I take over my childhood dream, my childhood favorite team here. They're winning. Yeah. Brad Stevens is young, in his prime, doing what he's doing. I mean, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, in their prime, doing what they're doing. Role players under contract. Just stay out of the way, Tay. Like, I almost look at this as he'll come in. Obviously, he's going to make changes. Yeah. But I think it'll be down the road. I don't necessarily – I think when you pay this type of money for a franchise and they're winning – just stay out of the way. Come in, enjoy the game. You're a fan. Come in, go to the games, hang in your owner's suite, chill out. You don't need to come in and put your imprint on things right away. Let the basketball people handle the basketball. You can handle the business stuff, but let the basketball people do what they do. What was your initial reaction when you saw this?
My initial reaction for Celtics fans is you won.
Yeah.
You won. This guy clearly wants to open up the pocketbook. Yeah. And that's all you pretty much needed. It's a great thing that he's a fan. It's a great thing that he's a fan. But that wasn't my initial reaction. My initial reaction is, wow, he spent a lot of money on a team that doesn't even own their own arena. That was my original reaction. And it's a good thing because that means that you ain't going to hear much talk about second apron and who's got to leave. And
luxury tax.
All that conversation pretty much gets deaded with the swipe of a pen that quickly. Yeah. So that was my biggest thing when I heard this. And then my second reaction was, wow, you said $360 million in 2002.
That's right.
And it's crazy because Bill co-founded his company, Symphony Technology Group, which is a private equity company, in 2002. So it made me think like, wow, run your own race because, in 2002, Wick is buying the Celtics, right? Right. In the Grossbeck family, they're buying the Celtics. And for him, he's just getting started. Now, 23 years later, he has the opportunity to buy his childhood team, a team that he cares about, So it's a great moment for him, but it's a moment where for us regular people who don't have $6 billion to spend on the team is to run your own race and do things at your own pace, and you'll get to your goals eventually when you want to get to them.
Yeah, I think that's well said. I mean, it should be noted, too. So Wick is going to remain on the team as a governor through the 2027-2028 season. Yep. So we're not talking about this guy taking over tomorrow and coming in and changing the office around, okay? Wick's still going to be involved there. I agree. I think, generally I like when we disagree and we're yelling at each other, but on this one, I feel the same way. I actually am curious your thoughts on this. So I think one of the ways maybe he can improve things for the Celtics, and this is weird to say on a day when they sell for $6 billion. Yeah. But I was thinking, okay, Commanders went for 6.
Yep.
Celtics go for 6.1.
Mm-hmm.
What would the Lakers go for? And the reason I bring that up is because at the top of the pecking order in sports, we know the teams. Yeah. Boston has 2 of them. Yeah. You have the Celtics. You have the Red Sox. I would argue the Patriots as well, but historically, it's been Celtics and Sox from day one.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm talking in all of sports.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at like Yankees, Lakers. Like it is different stratospheres.
Cowboys.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, if I'm him, I'm thinking, how do I get the Celtics beyond that level, even above them? Because we're not far off. How do I get them above that globally?
Right.
How can I grow the brand globally? How can I turn this 6.1 I just spent into, how can I double that down the line? Mm-hmm. And it's by building a bigger brand. Does that make sense? I think the basketball stuff, let it kind of take care of itself for now. Mm-hmm. Once he takes over, they're still in that window.
Yeah.
But I would try to grow the brand globally because in terms of the brand, it's history.
Yeah.
Bill Russell and Cousy and Bird. And obviously you're winning now, so you're building onto that legacy. But that is the brand.
Yeah.
Can you make it as big as the Lakers and as flashy as the Lakers? Can you put a little more gloss on the Celtics name? I would like to see that from a businessman standpoint. Can he do that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point because, I think with the Red Sox have that international flavor, right?
Yes.
Lakers, Dallas, Cowboys, Yankees. Right. You see the hats, you see those logos when you go to different countries across the water and all of that type of stuff. What you don't see as much of is that Celtics brand just yet. Right. But you know what can get that done?
What?
Is getting a new arena, having people – come into your arena and making their influence and your influence immediately upon them, right? So whenever you go to Fenway, you know how it feels. Whenever you go to Yankee Stadium, you know how it feels. When you go to Jerry World, you know how it feels. And when you go to Staples Center, which I will never call Crypto Arena.
It's Staples.
You know how that feels, and it feels different from every other experience in the league, right?
That's true.
TD Garden is a special place, don't get me wrong. But they don't own that property, so it doesn't always feel Celtics when you walk in, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It just feels like, what is the truth? That the Celtics are renting it out. You know what I'm saying?
It's like it's its own thing. It's TD Garden.
Right.
It's its own thing.
It's its own thing.
The Bruins and the Celtics happen to play there.
Right, exactly. So
that makes sense.
But when you think Staples, when you think Jerry World, when you think all those other places, you think those brands. You think Lakers, you think Cowboys, you think Red Sox. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I want them to be able to be in a spot like that where they can call it home. Like when I walked into it earlier this year and I got to see what the Clippers was like, and it screamed Clippers. Everything about it. You know what I mean? From the technology to walking in without even having to swipe your card to pay for things, to the jerseys of all across California of all the basketball players.
Right.
It screamed Clippers, right? Mm-hmm. Their whole entire facility. Mm-hmm. That's what I want for the Celtics, and I think that's what could get this brand to the level that you're speaking of.
Man, the business side. I mean, it feels good for us to talk about this on this show because we're so in the weeds all the time of the X's and O's and even what the players wear on this show, right? Which we are going to do later, both.
Yes.
But it is refreshing to kind of talk about the business side of this because I think you're right. I want to play a little devil's advocate and push back slightly.
All right, fair.
You build your own building, great, but it's not going to be in the heart of the city like TD Garden is.
Yeah.
And some of that connectivity with your fans and that brand. Now, we're talking building global.
Yeah.
Okay, but you still got to take care of people right here, right?
Yep.
And he's from here.
Yeah.
So I'm like, where are you going to go?
I mean, you're right.
We're going to have to drive to this thing.
Some people are complaining. Yeah.
Yeah.
Foxborough, we know the tragedy that goes down there. We know getting in and out of there.
We're going to a concert there.
Right. We know the tragedy of Foxborough.
We're trying to plan that now.
Right.
How are we getting in and out?
Right. So we know that. But what I do know about a lot of people in Boston and Massachusetts as a whole is that, yes, Boston is the hub, right?
Right.
But there's a lot of different places that feel like Boston is their home. And there's a lot of people that travel, commute. A lot of people here at Nesson commute. Yeah. You know what I mean? Every single day to come into the office. You know what I'm saying? And so this city is not adverse to traveling.
Sure.
They're not adverse to seeing winning teams. Yeah, if we're going back to 2012 when the Celtics were not very good, then it might be hard for people to travel. You know what I mean?
Right.
But people were packing out Gillette with no problem when Tom Brady was in there. So as long as the Celtics are willing to spend the moolah to have the cachet names and players here in Massachusetts, I won't even call it Boston because there's no way they can get a stadium in Boston.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But in Massachusetts, somewhere near Boston, who knows? Maybe it is in Watertown. We know the practice facility is in Brighton. You know, maybe they put it in Watertown, Waltham, something like that.
There's land
adjacent.
Yeah, Newton, there's land.
You know what I mean? Adjacent. Then there could be a Celtics team that's still calls Boston, outer Boston, but Boston, the home. But it's not necessarily right smack dab in the middle.
Yeah, listen, that was just playing devil's advocate because I think ultimately, if I'm the owner, I can really set my legacy up with two moves.
Yeah.
Number one, well, I guess three. One, pay, make a record for how much I paid for the team. So check.
Yes.
He wrote the check. He gets that box checked, okay? Yep. The second one would be kind of what I was saying earlier. Stay out of the way. Let's get more titles here while that window's open. Their window's still open. Let's squeeze out some more titles, as many as we can.
Yeah.
And then the third one would be so you had the titles check, however many that ends up being.
Yep.
And then the last one is to get your own building.
Yeah.
And you can accomplish all of those things that we just said within 10 years. Well, I guess it depends on the lease. The lease with the Garden, I think, is 12, I read. 10 or 12 years.
Right.
So at the end of that, you move to a new building.
Yeah.
Check. And then you have a choice.
Right.
Because you're a fan, you're from the area. Grossbeck family cared about this team too.
Yeah.
But they cashed out.
They did.
Okay, so let's, for the sake of this combo, you come in, you break a record for the most money spent on a team in North American sports.
Yeah.
You keep winning titles. You keep a winning tradition, which isn't hard because Brad Stevens is right there.
Right.
Jason Tatum's right there. Jaylen Brown, just stay out of the way, keep it going, okay? And then the third thing, you get your own building. You can cash out if you want, legacy intact.
Yeah.
Or you're a fan. They say he has like encyclopedia-style knowledge of the history and all that.
Yeah.
Maybe he wants to be here for 20, 30 years, whatever it is.
Right.
You own it. Do what you want. But your legacy is intact, in my mind, with those three things.
100%. And look, I can't forget to mention this. Because if he does have to put a stadium outside of the closer areas in Boston and all this other stuff, because I'm telling you, every owner is going to want to have their own stadium eventually, right?
Sure.
He will be able to kind of maybe influence and take some of those dollars because, like I said, the checkbook is long with this dude. He's spending money.
Facts.
He might be able to influence Boston to, improve some of those T-rails, extend some of them out, make a new line to get to the places.
Now you politicking.
Hey, and then if he does that, I can tell you the people of Boston will love him for improving the T because it sucks right now. I'm telling you, I avoid it like the plague.
I only went on it twice. I went once to a Bruins game and then once to when we went for the parade, which I don't think you took an Uber that day.
Yeah, I
right?
took an Uber that day.
I took it down.
I told you, I avoided it like the plague.
Yeah, no, I have not had I haven't had one good experience yet on the T. But no, it's a good point by you. In fact, you sound a lot like a politician. If there is a Campbell Thomas ticket, that is change you can believe in for Boston. Okay? Vote for us. Ching!